Hey everyone, welcome to Geek Rant. It's Greg again here on the channel with Toby and Sarah. Welcome back, Sarah. Today we're going to be talking about episode 3 of The House of the Dragon. Hey everyone, thanks for joining us today. We're going to be talking about the third episode of The House of the Dragon, which I have to say I'm massively enjoying at the moment. It's like a sweet nugget in what is unfortunately some pretty bad shows that we're talking about otherwise. So it's a nice relief. This was released on Monday in the UK, so we get it a day later than in America. So yeah, it's pretty fresh, and we're keen to sort of have a chat about it, aren't we? What did you guys think of the episode?
So second of his name is the name of the episode. And I as you said, Greg, I've been enjoying watching this. And I have to say I was a bit more disappointed by this episode.
Oh really? That's interesting, because I really enjoyed it. I thought it went really quickly.
I was disappointed when the episode finished.
Right.
So I'm enjoying it.
Let's hear this negative guy's views then. Let's
Why are you disappointed with it?
I felt that I was drawn out of the reality of the show.
Right.
What I mean by that is, as Rhaenyra was playing her character. Now, I like the actor Millie Alcock, but I couldn't understand her motivations as a character.
Okay.
So I felt like she had it pretty good. So in the first season, in the first episode, I didn't feel like she actually had a desire to be queen. I thought she was quite surprised when she was made to be princess, and she shouldn't have been surprised when her father, Viserys, gets married again and has another child, and then she suddenly starts stropping around.
I don't think she's surprised he's getting married. He's surprised he's her best friend.
Yeah, that's true, but
that would fuck me off if freedom. My dad got married to my best mate.
But
Jesus.
Yeah, but she obviously didn't see the writing on the wall, because she realised
they were having secret meetings that she knew nothing about
for 2 years. No, I don't believe that she would have. I can't believe that she would not have realised that Alicent wasn't having a relationship with her father, who she would have seen quite easily, that those two being together. Okay, that aside, she's had 2 years to get over it, but and then she's dropping around 3 years to get over it.
3 years,
whatever the situation. Well, before that, and
I think
she's a princess. She can do what she likes. She can go out and marry who she wants. And she's like,
but that's why she's dropping.
She's pissed off that she's been put in a position where she's supposed to be given all this power, but she's actually got no power at all. She goes into the small council to pour their wines when she's supposed to be the next heir. It's a complete contradiction. It's completely sexist. That's the whole point.
Actually, that is what he's talking about. That's what this whole her role, Rhaenyra's role.
That's why she's frustrated.
She shouldn't be, because her father has made her heir to the kingdom.
But she said herself that she didn't think he did that for any other reason other than the fact that there wasn't anyone better to select.
Well, and that's often the case. No. He could have selected Damien
to choose the boy.
Yeah, that may be that may be the case. But whatever the situation is, she is the princess. She's still heir. He hasn't named his son
because he's two.
He said to her, "Go and pick who you like to marry. We need to marry."
Well, that was later in the episode. That was later in the episode. No, I have a completely different view to you on that, Toby, and I actually feel I can totally understand the way she's feeling. Okay, she has been taught the problem with this, the time jumps, is it doesn't show you all the things that have happened in between. Every person around her has been telling her a woman has never sat on the throne. Okay, every person around her is saying, if he has a boy, you're going to be supplanted and he's going to be the next heir, and so obviously the kid's now 2, so she's had 2 years. Obviously she was pregnant. She got pregnant obviously very quickly. She's then had a boy for 2 years, and he has maintained that she's going to stay the heir, but all the people around him, her aunt who was overthrown. She missed out on the chance to become
the queen that never was.
The queen that never was.
Yeah.
She quite blankly told her, didn't she? Yes. It don't matter. There's never going to be a woman that sits on the throne.
It doesn't matter what's happened. Yeah. You've been, but you're still in there pouring wine for them all.
And I also think she's totally like 17.
I totally agree with this.
17, and she's got some angst. Okay, she's going through a difficult period. Now she's being trying to be pushed into getting married, and he's done it the wrong way. Well, he's done it like a king would. He's trying to say, look, here's some suitors. Jason Lannister. He's a suitor.
He's been trying to set her up with blokes. He hinted he's been trying to give her options for the last couple of years, and he hasn't forced any of these upon her. He wants to strengthen the realm by marrying her into a strong family.
And Hightower wants.
How is that sexist? How's that sexist?
No, I'm not. I don't think there's any sexism in this. I'm not thinking of it like that.
Yeah, but that's what Sarah said. I was trying to understand why that was sexist.
No, the sexism is the fact a woman's never going to sit on the chair.
Yeah,
but you should be appreciating this position, because George R. Martin has written her into the heir position to give her the power. The women in this are quite empowered compared to what they should be at the time, considering he's based it in a medieval society. So he's trying to level that off by making her the heir, and she is on the cover of the series. She's obviously going to be the one who assumes the power in this. This is very much about female power.
And to be honest with you, I think the actress has been brilliant in this role. I'm whenever she's on the screen, I'm like, she's really convincing. She plays it really well. Agree, I think she's been fantastic, and
I think a bit suspicious for her on this one. That's all.
No, I've that's fine, but I see in a different light.
It's baggage. It's not an original storyline, is it? Though, I mean,
I'm not saying it's original. No, I'm not saying it's original. I think it's been done quite well.
By it, really, to be honest. I just think it's like classic, like Elizabeth.
So that lowered it. That lowered it
Victoria,
for you, in
that
your
sort
opinion.
Of,
right.
I just felt she was acting out of character, because I thought she'd be more proactive rather than stroppy and moody and sort of running off and having.
But she's like 17 years old. She's like 17 years old. Like you say, she is a Targaryen.
I agree. She's in that respect, if she'd been like that the whole time, but she was wise and understanding, and she took a step back and she influenced herself in the first 2 episodes. I just feel like it's a different sort of.
That's true. I agree with you on that. She did seem wiser, younger, doesn't she? But then again, people's frustrations build up. The concern, that someone's going to supplant, and maybe now she's thinking to herself, actually, she took those first few steps in the last episode where she employed Kristen as the guard, to protect her, or the king, whoever.
She wants her first steps into
realizing. I think those are her first few steps into her realizing actually she would like to be the queen, And then we jump 3 years. And she's had 3 years of, now there's a son. Now there's a who's. Yeah. By law is probably the rightful heir, but the thing I think is a bit, her father, he's always been very supportive of her, hasn't he? And I think maybe they would have talked more, and there would have been a bit of better understanding. And she has taken a bit of a childish sort of route with it to go off and be stroppy or to go away. But I can see both sides of the coin. Do you know what I mean?
just felt it was a shame that a character took that line. I thought she'd be more sensible, more wise, and get the better of the blokes from that respect.
I think she will. I think she will get the better of the blokes because
she's going to be replaced with a new actress.
Loads of things. Like she's made peace with Damon. She got the egg back. She's proving herself through these different actions, showing that she could be the leader. So I think she will.
Yeah, that's what I like. That's what I like.
But I equally think she's quite stroppy, and I quite like that about her. She's not going to take any shit.
Well, she does because she goes and strops off somewhere in a forest, doesn't she? You know, it's not like she's facing up to it. She just had a blazing around in the middle of a crowd and then ridden off into the forest somewhere.
That's because she's been worried she's going to be replaced.
Get anything.
She's worried she's going to get replaced. You know, all the people around the king. You know, you look at Otto Hightower. It's his grandson, isn't it? And he is the one that is now sort of putting in his ear. You know, Egon is the rightful heir. Yeah.
What if his surname was on his face? Egon, his face.
Oh dear.
I don't like the fact that he's. I don't like the fact he's suggesting she marries her little half brother.
Yeah,
no, that was horrible as well.
That was just like a little throw-in thing. It was a bit weird.
It's he's so calculated.
Yes.
Yeah. There was a lot of that at that point, wasn't there? There was we entered a little kind of fray of beating down Viserys. You know, so he's actually, you know, this is another thing about this episode. I know that he's ill, and they make some subtle references to his missing fingers in the episode. Which is pretty grim. But he's actually, he wasn't in such a bad position because he's got this beautiful wife. He's now got an heir. You know,
he seemed totally conflicted to me. I think he's in a lot of dilemma. He's hating all the political stuff at the moment. All the people trying to.
He's in trauma from his wife dying, having to make that choice.
Well, that's true.
Over the child and the
definitely.
Wife. He's lost his. He made a choice, right?
Yeah.
He died, and then he died, and then he realised that his daughter was going to be the queen anyway. So he didn't. He said it, didn't he? He didn't need to do any of those things, and still have his original wife that he loved very much.
He may have that trauma from the past. He made the decision. He's not necessarily, he's living with the guilt of it rather than the loss of it. You know, it's a bit of a selfish kind of. So
you think he feels a bit guilty?
He does, obviously. He feels guilty for saying kill the woman, kill them.
He loves her. He loved her. He misses her. He told her at the end.
I don't think there was a choice in that. I think she was going to die anyway, wasn't she? The mother was either going to die or one of them, or the baby was going to be cut out. You know.
Yeah. Either. Well, then he's kind of basically not making decisions. He's just sitting on things and stewing. And it was getting a little bit tedious the way they kept throwing people at him to sort of batter him down. I felt that was a little bit where people kept telling him to do this, telling him to do that. He's the king, for God's sake. Just stand up and tell him to F off.
But that's the way this world works, isn't it? That's the way these things happen. You know, if you're a king, you've got in those times, you've got lots of people on your case trying to win your favor, trying to persuade you to do other things, you know. It's really interesting. I was quite surprised that you felt like that about that section of the program. I thought it was really good.
Sick of him sitting on that chair?
Not at all. Not at all.
I thought it was weird that he was getting really drunk. I thought it was really weird that he was getting so drunk and like miserable. But then at the end of the episode, when he talks to his daughter and says that he's, you know, riddled with guilt and he misses his wife, and then you realise that he's actually just going through this trauma and he's not happy with his new wife, no matter how beautiful she is. It's not the person he loved.
Yeah, that's true.
And there's obviously this war going on with the Crab Prince.
Yes.
Yeah.
And he's ignoring that, and everyone's asking for help, apart from Damon. And then the new wife.
You see, the writing was on the wall for me at the end of the second episode, where Viserys chooses Alicent as his bride. You know, that for me, I suddenly thought to myself, that is a weird decision to make, considering the realm. And you know, I just felt then this episode just carried on with some weird choices and some characters changing a bit. They
He's
may
a
have
bit
just
weak,
evolved.
isn't he?
He is weak.
He's just
is
weak.
He dealt with Damien pretty strongly, I thought. I think that there's he definitely has some strengths. I do like the way that he's getting this illness, and it's killing him slowly.
It's not an illness. He keeps getting cut by the chair.
No, he's basically no. Well, it's no.
He absolutely is. That finger thing.
He's got blood poisoning.
In one bit, you see he cuts his finger.
He does,
on
but
the
it
chair.
doesn't heal.
And on his back, he had a cut on his back, and he said, "It's the chair. It's the chair. The chair." Every time he sits in the chair, it cuts him.
Well, it's true, but he can't heal. He's got blood poisoning. That's what he's got.
It's come from the chair. It's come from the chair.
I also liked the whole white stag thing. I thought that was a nice little metaphor, you know, that they were putting in there. They couldn't find it, but then the stag came to her and was like a symbol of, you know, you're kind of like the chosen one, really. So I quite liked that aspect of it, and that she didn't kill it; she let it go, and so on. I mean, the other side of the story was obviously the Damon, you know, the fights and the battle. There was a tiny bit at the very beginning, wasn't there, where you saw him at night fighting with the crab guys. And,
right at the beginning, wasn't there? Oh,
right at the beginning,
the dragon came down.
He's on his dragon.
Yeah,
and I thought it was interesting to see there's different types of dragons, you know, different looks of the dragons. I don't know if you noticed his Damon's dragon is really long. You know, he's got a really long neck. He's got a long body, and he's quite
more sort of oriental in its design.
Yeah, it looks more like a worm or something like that. You know, it's really quite kind of interesting how they had that at the beginning, and I liked that beginning bit where he's gone in there and then he's getting pelted with arrows and has to flee. You know, that was a nice little. But the bit at the end was also good. You know, where he gets words. You know, obviously they all come together as a group to discuss what's going on, and he's there with the Valerians, and they're all talking about strategy. And we've obviously got the son is obviously, I think, going to be I think his name's Laenor, and he's obviously going to, I think, become more of a main character,
a potential suitor.
Laenor, he's he seems like an interesting character. I like those Valerians. They all seem kind of interesting.
Yeah, it's an interesting idea, strong. Isn't it? You know, interesting group. And there was a bit of infighting with them, which I thought was quite, you know, brothers having a bit of a, you know, having a fight, which was kind of over what to do and who's to blame and that sort of thing. I thought it was interesting how he then turns up and they get word from that the king is going to send some support, and he's pissed off about it. You know, he doesn't want that. He doesn't want his brother to come and save the day and take his glory.
And that's what makes him go in.
Yeah. Hence the sort of tactics at the end there. I did think a little bit like there was about 50 archers on top of that thing, and none of them could really shoot.
I just thought it was so stupid. I hated the ending.
Did you?
I absolutely hated it.
Are you
I
right?
could not believe it.
Really?
I could not believe it. I know. I was so disappointed.
Is he right, Sarah?
I could not. Listen. There's no chance in hell that he could have done what he did.
No, you're right.
It's completely ridiculous. He gets hit by 3 arrows for a start.
And then in quite crucial places.
And then you see him sprinting down the cave. I just thought
Targaryen's hearts are actually further down, you see, so that that's just.
Well, he was
just
shot in the leg.
Really?
No, I'm joking.
He hasn't got a heart, has he, Damon? But
I don't like him as the actor.
Pardon?
I don't like him as the actor.
No, me either. I thought I really
just
did
see
not
Doctor
like him.
Who with a blonde wig on.
Yeah,
I never watched any of the Doctor Who with him in.
Neither did I. But
so it's not really affected me at all. And I thought he's been all right. Not as good as some of the other actors.
Yeah, I hated him in this role. I just think he shows no authority. His voice is weak.
Yeah.
He
seems to do these weird. He's got some weird characteristics which he's employed in this character, kind of silence and sort of turning away in a weird way.
It's his voice, though. It's not strong enough.
It isn't strong enough. And it's the way he phrases the words sometimes as well. It sounds like he's talking to school children. You know, I just thought this ending was really disappointing because I felt no empowerment. I just felt it's a game with the changing of the characters. I just can't. I couldn't believe it. I was taken out of the reality of the show. Right. And then what was really disappointing, I was so looking forward to finding out more about the crab eater. And then he's appeared, having had his mortal injuries, with the crab eater cut in half. We didn't even see the fight.
Yeah. You know, I know.
I wanted
Ian
to
was
see.
Like, hang a minute, did I miss a bit?
Yeah.
He literally thought we'd missed the scene, the best bit where the crab prince was killed. And I was like, no, you haven't missed anything. We've all missed it.
Well, I just thought, okay, he could have crawled. They kept having these soldiers running out of these caves up ahead, you know, and it was good when the Valerians came charging down. I thought that was good.
Yes.
But then I just saw all these hundreds of people. Damien's there lying on I just thought.
Yeah, did you not see that dragon fly in and burn them all and protect him?
Yeah, of course I did. But, you know, I just thought that he was so...
I think the thing is, if you see a dragon coming out of the sky, your attention's not on trying to kill Daemon Targaryen. It's on, shit, I've got to run for my life.
No, there's a certain... There's elements of it which, you know, are good, but...
The only bit for me that I didn't think worked particularly well was the fact that he ran across that thing, ran down that thing, and he didn't get hit, like completely killed by arrows, you know. There was a lot of debris around. I think if they could have just come up with something like he had a shield or something, picked up a shield or something, and just a load of the arrows went into the shield.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Then I would have been a lot more like,
this is what makes it more
he got away with it. It's a fluke, but he got away, and then he landed somewhere that was hidden. He was kind of under a bow of an old ship, you see. So I think that was that protecting him, you know, but he did end up just stumbling down, didn't he?
You had that view from above where he's sitting running through the middle. Yes. And then at the end, he comes out and he stands on that ridge with half the body of the crab eater.
Yeah.
And he stands there and does this funny sort of position. And he looks like he's halfway through dyeing his hair black, doesn't he? He's got like mud running down his face. And I'm like, what are you doing? Look noble, look powerful.
Yeah, I thought he looked like he was just like
dyeing his hair.
He was hot, but the thing was, he'd been hit by arrows. He'd been in a massive fight. You're not going to look your best. I agree with you. It did look funny.
But he did look powerful, though.
And he looked all...
It doesn't look powerful. It doesn't embody the power. He's badly cast in that role.
He is terribly casted. I have to say, though, about the general feel of the show, I really enjoy it. I'm really, really glad it's so authentic. I'm glad it feels like the original show. Ian said
it's still Game of Thrones, absolutely.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah, one thing Ian said was, so there's been no technological enhancements in 200 years. So there was 200 years in the past, and nothing's moved forward in 200 years in Game of Thrones. So they could have done something to make it seem a bit more
primitive.
Not massive things, but they haven't, have they?
That's an interesting wider debate in my mind. Because you could argue that some societies might not advance like our society has, in the sense that, well, you have to think.
If you look back at those periods, though, if you look in our
from 1500 to 1800, you know, there's, you know, maybe not that, maybe 1400, maybe 1400 to 1600. I don't know. It's difficult to say, but I guess
they could have done something like the throne could have been less developed out of knives. It seems to be more developed with knives.
Yeah, it is more. Yeah.
So
they'd scaled it back, hadn't they? But I think also you got to remember there was massive wars. There was the Mad King. He burnt pretty much the whole of the city down. You know, before Game of Thrones started. So I can see what you're saying. That was what Ian said. That was all.
Definitely an interesting idea. Yeah.
He's disappointed he didn't get to see the Crab Prince get killed either.
Yeah,
there should have been a fight, shouldn't there? There should have been a bit of a better fight there. Yes, you're right. I agree with you there.
Yeah, I like that. It was so sadistic the way they'd nail them to posts and let crabs eat them. Oh,
yeah, that was pretty grim. I have to say, Joe, where we were sitting watching it, Joe said, "Do you think crabs eat humans? Eat human flesh? They probably don't. You know, they probably don't eat raw flesh. They probably just eat little bugs in the ocean." You know, it's like,
but hang on, we haven't got dragons though, have we? In this world, these are flesh-eating crabs.
We've got crabs though,
you know. They've got flesh-eating crabs. I know what you're saying. I know what you're saying. You've got to have a little bit of
the concept is slightly flawed in the sense if you get your hand nailed to a post, it doesn't stop you from flicking your body around to stop the crabs from eating you, does it? You know,
no, but you'd get tired after a while.
You would, but you pull your hand out because the hole would be bigger and you'd be able to rip it off the post, wouldn't you? I think that ultimately the best thing about it was the crab eater himself.
He was terrifying.
He obviously had some sort of scarring, didn't he? And then he wore this metal mask, and there was like
did you
notice
thing on it. That metal mask, I think, is the same type of mask that they have in Game of Thrones. You know, when Daenerys is in the Free Cities over on the they've all. Do you remember those the sons of whatever they're called? They had very similar masks, and I wonder if that was from that. You know, there's some link to that because he's kind of sponsored by they've been sponsored by the Free Cities, you know, which Daenerys kind of conquers, doesn't she? So I think that's that's a link to that, you know, as a little nod to that.
I'm hoping
definitely
that there will be a flashback to the cave and we see Damien fight.
Well, that could be the case, couldn't it?
It could be the case. I did think that after. Because it seems like that character.
It could be something when he talks about it later, he can say, make a big story out of it, and you see him in the, you know, maybe, who knows?
He seemed to get enough injuries to die, though. Does he die, or is he going to be in all the episodes?
I don't know. Listen, looking at Internet Database, I think he's in like 9 episodes or something like that. So, you know, I'm also,
sure. I've seen the older in trailers and things, the older Rhaenyra and him talking, so I know he survives that long at least.
He's in 10 episodes. Who I would like to see more of Lord Lionel Strong, the advisor to Viserys. You know,
that's really interesting. I put that down as well as a note, Lionel Strong, because I think he's been good advisor. He's you know, when he approached the king and said, would you like to hear what I think? He said, well, I suppose your son is the next, you know. He said, no, I'm suggesting what I suggested before. Go with bringing the houses together,
the bloodline,
but the son rather than daughter.
He could be a useful advisor that gets a bit more time. I was just going to say, also they brought in the Lannisters. You know, that was an interesting.
I thought that was good. I thought I liked what's his name, Lannister. It was.
There were 2, weren't there? There was one called Tyland, who I think was a father, and then there was Jason, who was the one that was being put forward as the and he obviously gave him that spear, didn't he? Which he used to kill the deer with.
I just thought the actor did a great job. I thought he nailed the arrogance, didn't he?
Yeah.
Jefferson
the way
Hall
he was summoning the servants and things.
Yeah, and then he just threw the wine away after they finished their talk. I just thought that was a nice little touch. He didn't have to do that. Obviously, he's really he stands there looking down his nose, kind of his chest out a little bit, and
very
kind of
proud
laughing at people. And I'm superior. I thought that was really good. I laughed at that bit. And Rhaenyra, her response to him, I thought was quite good as well. They looked like they had a bit of chemistry. I think.
Could be interesting,
which was nice, which is good.
One other thing, I know I said about this last week, I am really pleased they've got the intro sequence down, because hearing the music again, and I know it's the original Game of Thrones music, but hearing the music again was great. I was like, this is great. Game of Thrones is back, you know. So I was really pleased about that. That was a nice touch. I'm really surprised by your reaction to it, Toby. I have to say, you've taken me aback today. I thought we were going to have a real praise session, because I really enjoyed it. I thought it was great, you know. Anyway.
Yeah, no, sorry.
That's fine. It's fine. It's good. It's good. That's part of the joy of doing this. You know, we've all got our opinions, and you know, unfortunately, yours is wrong in this position. But you know that don't really matter.
I'm obviously outnumbered. You two usually have a different opinion to me. So
anyway, thanks very much for joining us today. We are enjoying this series. It's obviously bringing out some good views. If you like what we're saying, obviously, please subscribe. If you want to press the like button, brilliant. Or leave any comments. You know, what do you think? Do you like Matt Smith as Daemon Targaryen as much as these other guys do? Let us know. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed it, and we'll see you soon.